So what kind of author are you, a plotter or a pantser? Hello, I'm Mike with WriterSanctuary, and today we're going to be talking about the different types of writing, pantsers and plotters, and whether it makes a difference. Everybody has their own idea of how to start a book, and in reality there's really no right or wrong answer. Now, a pantser is somebody who writes by the seat of their pants. This means they get a basic idea of what the story is going to be, and then they just start writing. There is no outline to go by, and the author is just taken along for the ride. Essentially, the author has no idea how the story is going to unfold. Now, a plotter is someone who plots or outlines the entire manuscript. By planning out the story, this author has a steady flow of how the story is going to unfold. It's all about filling in the gaps from point A to point B. Then you have the hybrids, who are a mixture of pantsers and plotters, called plantsers. These authors usually write more freely, but have points that they want to work on inside of a chapter or the entire story. So it's not like they actually outline the entire thing, just certain segments that they want to see written in the story. So what are some of the pros of being a pantser? First of all, a lot of writers get a great sense of freedom while writing. They don't have to worry about trying to fit in the story in between plot points in an outline. Second, pantsers can just jump right in and start writing. They don't have to spend time planning out the outline of the manuscript. Thirdly, they don't know the story until it's written. Now, a lot of authors enjoy the idea of being surprised by what the characters do and how the plot unfolds as they write. So what are some of the cons of being a pantser? First of all, it's much easier to get writer's block. Without a clear path of how the story is going to unfold, it can be quite easy to get hung up on how to proceed when you get to a certain point. Next is that being a pantser can lead to a lot of rewrites. Sometimes things won't make sense or changes will happen that cause a pantser to rewrite the entire manuscript, or make major sweeping edits before you even get done with the first draft. And lastly, a lot of pantsers wind up with multiple projects open at once. Now, this often happens in conjunction with writer's block. Instead of being hung up on a story for months at a time, they'll start a new project until they overcome the blockage. The problem with that, though, is that it can lead to a collection of years and years worth of stories without having anything complete. In fact, I've met quite a few authors who are pantsers who have yet to publish anything but have a slew of stories that they're working on. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, it's just that you need to overcome those blockages if you want to get things published. Alright, so what are some of the pros of being a plotter? First, plotters have a clear sense of where the story is going to go. As everything is planned out ahead of time, you can just write to connect the dots. Secondly, you're less likely to suffer from writer's block. As long as you're able to connect from point A to point B with the story development, you're less likely to get hung up on sections of the book. Thirdly, plotters usually have a better sense of pacing throughout the manuscript. When planning, you can set the pace of each chapter without worrying about major lulls in the plot. Now let's take a look at some of the cons of being a plotter. For one thing, a single change in the story can wind up affecting the entire outline as a whole. Depending on the changes that you make, you wind up re-outlining the entire manuscript. Secondly, it takes a little bit more time before you can actually start writing. Unlike a pantser who can start writing immediately, a plotters can take time to outline the book, which could usually take anywhere from a few hours to a few days. And lastly, a lot of authors find plotting too inorganic. Some feel that instead of an organic flow of the story, that plotting can feel too mundane if it's forced in the manuscript. So which one is better? Well, as I said earlier, there is no right or wrong answer here. Authors have been very successful with all three of these methods. Some find it easier to write by the seat of their pants, while others, like myself, enjoy plotting out the entire book. Now, if you're unsure what method is best for you, I suggest trying them both. Use something like Readsy's plot generator to get an idea for a short story. Then, use each method to write that story to get a feel for how it works for you. At the end of the day, it all comes down to which method you prefer most. The best way to write any novel is what works best for you. Personally, I am a plotter. This is also evident in all my blog posts. Each heading is a segment of information I would like to cover, and I fill in the gaps afterwards. I set up an outline for a book in a similar fashion. Only instead of using headers, I use sentences to break down scenes and dialogue. And if you're curious on how I outline my books and stories, the link is right over here somewhere. It's simply the best method that works for me because I like to keep things organized and I forget a lot. So one of the benefits to plotting is that I can add in things that I would like to see in the book that I know that if I try writing at the seat of my pants, I'm going to forget. So definitely plotting works best for me. Even then I wind up forgetting a lot of stuff that I put in the outline. That's okay, that's what editing's for. Anywho, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button for more videos about self-publishing, blogging, freelance writing, or anything else I cover, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. I think it's going to do it for me today. I'm going to go find some more medication, and I'll see you next time.